Okay, here is the third video that goes along with the 1.5 sine and cosine graphs. I only have 2 example problems to do, so this is extra if you need the help with the extra video to view. So if we look at this example, we have y equals 2 sine of 2x minus pi. So let's go ahead and find the amplitude and the period. The amplitude is the number in front of the function, so that is 2. Period is 2 pi over b. B is the number in front of the x, so 2 pi, or over 2. So then that equals pi. And then the minus pi inside of the parentheses means we are shifting to the right pi units. Okay, so whenever we look at this, and we go to label our x and y axis, if you kind of take a look, our period is pi. So we would have our graph right here, except we are shifting it over to the right pi. So our graph technically wouldn't even start until the end here. So what I'm going to do, on your graph paper, you would not have a problem for this. But on this line, I'm going to shift the x and y axis. I'm actually just going to shift the y axis over. So then I now have that length. So our period is pi. So here would be pi. So that would be pi over 2, pi over 4, 3 pi over 4. And then this would be 2 pi. 2 pi would be out here. And then between 1 and 2 is 1.5, so that's 3 pi over 2. And then what's between 1 and 1/2? That would be 1.25, which would then be 5 pi over 4. And then this would be 7 pi over 4. Okay, let's go ahead and make our t-chart. Since we would originally start at 0, and then it would be pi over 4, pi over 2, 3 pi over 4, and then pi. But we are shifting to the right pi, so we're actually adding pi. So that would be pi. 5 pi over 4, 3 pi over 2, 7 pi over 4, and then 2 pi. Okay, so then we have the sign. Do you remember those? 0, 1, 0, -1, 0. And then we're multiplying it by 2 because we have an amplitude of 2 now. So we would be graphing these two. This is your x, that's your y. So at pi would be at 0. 5 pi over 4, we'd be up at 2. And then 0, -2, and 0. And the reason why we're over so far is because this would be the original one. So do you see how everything is shifted over pi units? Because this is the period. Okay, the next one is basically the same thing. We have the amplitude is 3. The period is 2 pi, because that's 1. The negative means we are reflecting. And this plus pi means we are shifting left pi units. Now this one doesn't really matter because our period is still 2 pi and we're just shifting over pi. So we're actually going to end up here. Okay, so let's go ahead and make our t-chart. So we have 0, pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, and 2 pi. Okay, and we're actually shifting left pi. So we're going to subtract pi. So we're at negative pi. And then negative pi over 2, 0, pi over 2, and pi. Next, we can do our cosine. Do you guys remember those? 1, 0, -1, 0, 1. And then we're going to multiply it by -3. So -3, 0, 3, 0, -3. So we are going to graph those two. So I actually need to add on here so I'm at negative pi, and then I'll be way down here at -3. I don't know if it'll let me do it though. And then, I don't know what's going on. Okay. Then I'll be at negative pi 0, 0, 3, pi over 2, 0, and then way down here. So it's going to look like that. The original without the shift would be this. So you can see how it shifted. Okay, you can ignore that. This is your homework. So you have to graph 35, 39, 43. Do not graph 45 through 51 odd, just determine the transformation. So find the amplitude, the period, and then whether you shift any place.